Okay, welcome to JC Connect. In the previous class, we were discussing about the objectives and some of the details about the module 1 and module 2. Also, we have discussed. In the module 1, it is related to the need for protected water supply and the demand of water. Here we are going to study the different demands like domestic demand, industrial demand, and the institutional demand, commercial and uh, public demand. Here, very important thing is that always we have to concentrate on this domestic demand. It has its own weightage as it is related to a more social importance. So the industrial demand is also very important, but when you go to any industry, there only it is going to helpful. So then, of course, related to fire demand means when the fire is going to explode, how that can be satisfied. That we are going to estimate the fire demand. Then, how exactly the variations are going to happen during the day, during the year, uh, and during the um, time means for example hourly variation how is going to happen, day variation how it is going to happen means, for example, if you consider uh, throughout the day, so the morning normally from you can say it is from 6 to 10 the demand is little bit higher, demand is little bit higher. Again, many people will go to the offices, the demand will be very lesser. Then again, when you come back from the offices, so it will be again higher. If you see the curve like this, it will be there. So morning, again it is afternoon, then again it is evening. So normally this is the variation in the daily, how exactly it is. So if you consider even during the various seasonal variations also, for example, summer variations, highest it will be there. Then again rainy, how exactly it will be there. Winter, how exactly that we are going to discuss in this variation of the demands. Then the peak factor, normally when it comes to the peak factor, that we will discuss in detail. As I already said that uh, your any design, for example water supply, if you are designing water supply, then your water system distribution network has to be designed for 30 years. Then for 30 years, how much will be the population? For that population, how much will be the demand? Then normally the peak factor, for example, in 2021 you have 100 peoples. If you forecast it for the population for 2051, assume that if it is 300, then 300 into how much liters per capita per day, that we have to multiply. We will discuss in detail. For example, per person if it requires 135, then that demand, then multiply by some peak factor. Always will keep it some extra demand for uh, uh, for example some fluctuations. For example, uh, uh, some of the fire demand calculations, or for example if you are consuming 135, sometimes you may extra you are going to consume, like in variations in the demands, it has to be considered. We'll see that how exactly the peak factor will be considered, what are the factors we are going that is going to affect. Then design period, as I already discussed, that is 30 years. Then some of the numerical problems also we are going to discuss in this first module. In the second module, it is completely related to the water treatment. So here we are going to discuss the water treatment units in this. So like we have screening, the first one, then you have uh, sedimentation. These are some of the units are there. This we are going to discuss. Then we have filtration. Then we have so disinfection. These are the major units we are going to discuss in this um, uh, module. The intake structures, I already said that the intake structure is the inlet for the source. For example, if we have uh, the river flowing in this direction, here the intake structure will be constructed. Normally, this intake structure is nothing but jack well that we are going to discuss in your further classes. Then in the module 3, we are going to discuss the sedimentation part. It is completely, I already discussed what is the theory, then setting times, types, design, and coagulation cum flocculation. We'll discuss in detail. It is also completely related to the uh, water treatment process. Then fourth also, it is related to the water treatment. Here the disinfection we are going to discuss, and in this some of the miscellaneous treatments like special treatments like lime soda zeolite process we will discuss. And this fifth module is completely related to the distribution system. So normally the first module, it is related to the introduction part. So second, third and fourth, it is related to the water treatment. And the fifth module is related to the distribution system. So here we are going to discuss about the complete design of the water supply distribution network, then how the pressure is maintained. As I already said that uh, the pressure, minimum pressure that has to be maintained, that is 7 meter for the first storage building. So according to the CPHEO norms, so 7 meter pressure has to be maintained for the first storage building. That is the main objectives of distribution network. So then this course outcomes, we should be able to design a proper treatment units for water treatment. Then we should be able to design proper supply distribution network. That is the main outcomes if you study this course. Then you have different textbooks are available. So Pavey and Rowe, that's a very good book. Many people will use that. So then SK Garg, you can give the third priority for this book. Third priority. You can give the first priority for Pavey and Rowe, and the second priority you can give it to this BC Punmia. This is also very good book. And some of the reference manuals, that is CPHO manual, normally we'll use it. That is the CPHO manual is 1999 CPHO manual is available in your website also. If you go to cpheo.gov.in, if you do that, so normally you will get uh, this manual. Not only this, you will get the Sewer manual also, and Hammer and Hammer. This is also very good book. You can take this as a reference books. But You can refer these two. The first one, Pave and Rove, and second one, those who are preparing for the like examinations like um, GATE, GATE, and IES, GATE, IES, and some of the competitive examinations by some of the central authorities. You can refer this PV and Rove. It is very good book, and many of the questions, many IITs and NIT professors will use this textbooks. Okay, then we'll straight away move on to our the first module, that is the introduction part. Um, uh, the first topic, subtopic in the first module is that is need for the protected water supply. So why we require this protected water supply? First one. So what is the necessity for providing the protected water supply? First one, to remove the impurities and made safe to public health. So the first point is that simply if you provide the river water, then what will happen? Because we know that the river is contaminated with lot of impurities. Like we have the the MSW, that is municipal wastewater, and the industrial wastewater. These two are uh, very important uh, uh, components in the environmental health risk and the wastewater analysis. The municipal wastewater also, it is released by the most of the cities, that is going to join to the rivers. Then many of the industries, without discharge, without treatment, they are discharging. Again, it is accumulating in the river water itself. Suppose if you simply supply to the consumers, then the public health is going to be destroyed. So then, in concern with the public health, there is an very essential need for the protected water supply. So most of the time, water may be polluted by the physical and bacterial agents. So because you are a municipal wastewater, it consists of lot of pathogens. So it has to be treated and it has to be uh, given to the consumers. Then the protected water supply system is only available in urban areas. Urban areas means only in the cities you can see this. Only the cities you have water treatment plants. Water treatment plants. But in the rural you don't have. Maybe you have nowadays the septic tanks septic tanks are available. Septic tanks are available. So that they are installing nowadays under Swachh Bharat Mission, Government of India. Most of the villages are provided with these facilities. So Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, Abhiyan. So, but the countries like India is essentially a village-based country. Majority of our population is based in the villages itself. That we have to always consider. Have to give more weightage because it is distributed in the villages itself. So there we have to concentrate it. Then, if you want to supply to the villages, nowadays the village scheme, we already said that the Jal Jeevan Mission, it is the village scheme only. What it is saying is that each of the villages and each person should get 55 liters LPCD, that is liters per capita per day. That much minimum we have to provide for the um, village peoples. That is the main requirements. So then this is the second objective, and most of the rural population, if not provided with the protected water supply systems, they are mostly dependent on the some of the conventional resources like wells. It will be there. then ponds will be there, then streams will be there, or sometimes they will use the borewells. Many of the villages are borewells they are supplying. And nowadays, some of the small uh, hmm, treatment treatment units also available. Units are also provided in the provided in the provided in the villages. So people are consuming this water without any treatment. They are bound to suffer from the waterborne diseases like typhoid, dysentery, cholera, and these are some of the chikungunya. These are some of the waterborne diseases only. So if you are not providing the protected water supply scheme, so these are some of the diseases it is going to come. And some of the rural water supply systems aim to provide reasonable quantity of safe, wholesome water to satisfy the demands of the people, thus helping in maintaining the better sanitation and de-octification of surroundings, thereby reducing the environmental pollution. So the overall need for this protected water supply system is that to accountability on the human health, we have to provide the need for the basis for the water supply scheme. So next, we'll go ahead with the per capita demand. So per capita demand, it is denoted by so small q. So per capita demand means it is very simple. So per person, how much water is required. So previously I discussed that in the Jal Jeevan mission, so they are providing 55 LPCD. Means what? 55 liters per capita per day. Capita stands for person. So means per person, how much water is required. So then it also includes per capita demand is not only for the human beings, even the various demands are also calculated industrial demand, like commercial use. In commercial, for example, if you are there in the house, the person is there in the house, how much he is consuming. So that is per capita for in houses, per capita in houses. Suppose if the same person, if he is going to the offices, then how much he requires, that is also per capita demand. Means in the sense, even if he is there in the house, so what will be the demand? Suppose if he is there in the industry, what will be the demand? If he is doing some commercial activity, what will be the demand? So like that, various demands will be there. So we'll discuss that also. So that is per capita demand, that is liters per day, per head or per capita. So for domestic purpose, an average Indian town, this is the manual, it will say, as for the CPHO norms. The CPHO stands for Central Public Health Environmental Engineering Organizations. So what it will say is that for an average Indian town, the requirement for the water in various uses is, that is 135 liters per capita per day. Normally we can call it as LPCD. LPCD. Then industrial use 40. So public use, then fire demand, then any losses or thefts, it will be 55 liters per day. So for example, how they will consider in the industrial use, how they will consider in the public use, how they will consider in the fire demands. Means the demand, the per capita demand means How much the persons are demanding? That is the overall conclusion. So then total it will be 270 liters per capita per day. This is the overall demand for an average Indian town, if it is there. Again, there are many clauses are there. How to take it if you go to a specific industries, because each of the specific industry, for example, you have oil refinery industry. How it can be considered? For example, fertilizer industry. What will be the demand? Fertilizer fertilizer industry. So how it can be considered? That we have to see it. So means overall the per capita demand means it is per person how much water is required. That we have to concentrate. Then the factors affecting the per capita demand. Then how it has to be considered? So normally the first factor which is going to affect, that is size of the city. The per capita demand for the big cities is generally large because I already said that they have a lot of flushing type of systems will be there. If you go to any of the latrines, so there you have flushing type of systems will consume a lot of water than normal Indian type of systems. Then again, the consumption will be very high to the smaller towns. So this is because the fact that in big cities, a huge quantity of water is required to maintain clean and healthy environment. So if you compare with the small towns and the big cities, normally it will be around more than 200 liters per capita per day. Now the norms has changed. 200 liters per capita per day in big cities, and in small towns it is 135 LPCD. That we have to always consider. Then, uh, for example, big cities are generally seaward, and in such requires large quantity of water. A seaward house quantity is 4 times the water required for the unseaward. If the sewer, if it is connected, then we will see that how exactly it can be calculated, how it will be 4 times, how it will be 3 times in the big cities. That will consider in detail. Why? One more very important thing is that the commercial and industrial activities will be more in of the cities. In the rural places, there is no such activities will be provided. So then it requires more water. Coolers is required more. Some of the latrines which are having the flushing systems, it will consume a lot of water. So that has all the things has to be considered. So then climatic conditions in most of the hot areas like uh, Mangalore, Bangalore and some of the like Bombay cities, it requires a lot of water. Wherever the humid regions will be there, so there um, uh, the lot of water requirement will be there. Then even some of the Rajasthan, some of the states, lot of uh, water will require to satisfy the hot and dry conditions. So a lot of bathing also it is required, cleaning, air coolers. Air coolers also requires a lot of water, sprinkling in lawns, gardens, roofs. That has to be considered. So the climatic conditions are also a very important factors that is going to affect. Then type of the luxury that is used and the habitats of the people, even the culture, uh, what they are adopting in their houses, that is also affect. It's going to affect for the most of the per capita demand. Means the rich and upper class communities generally consumes more water due to their living standards. Swimming pools will be there, like geysers they will use. So If you go in detail about that, you'll come to know. Of course, then the industrial and commercial activities also, it is going to affect the per capita demand. The pressure and the industrial and commercial activities at a particular place increases the water consumption. I already explained some of the industries like oil refinery industry, it requires a lot of water. Even the coal-based industries, coal-based, very important, coal-based industry requires a lot of water because for the power transmissions where we are getting from the coal-based industry only, that is coal-based thermal power plants. The coal-based thermal power plants are requires lot of water for their cooling purpose. That all the things we have to consider. Even the nuclear power plants, it requires a lot of water for the cooling purpose only. So wherever the industrial will be there, industrial activities and the commercial activities, there lot of water consumption is required. So then quality of water supply also. How this quality of water supply is going to affect? For example, if you are if you are giving the pure water, the wastage will be very less. Wastage will be less. If you are giving impure water, most of the time the wastage is very very high. That all the things we have to consider. So if the quality and the taste of the supply water is good, it will be consumed more, because in that case the people will not use the other source such as the private wells. So the pressure in the distribution system is also very important. So the remaining things we'll discuss in the next class. So if you have any queries, you can ask or we'll wind up the class.